This episode of the Local Hustlers podcast is brought to you by Flamingo Pools, your go-to maintenance and repair company in the East Valley. Stop wasting your valuable time trying to take care of your pool and let the professionals at Flamingo Pools take care of it for you. Visit azflamingopools.com for a free quote today.
You're listening to the Local Hustlers Podcast, East Valley Locals. Get connected with small businesses near you and dive deep into their stories, mindset, and motives. Entrepreneurs everywhere. Get ready to be inspired by business owners, entrepreneurs, and hustlers that you can relate to and learn from. And now, your hosts, Dallin Huso and Ridge Waldberg.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Local Hustlers podcast. Today, we are stoked to have Jemesa Snuka. Said that right?
Yeah, that was
okay,
good.
Sweet.
That was good.
This
is the fifth time he's tried to do
yeah,
that.
I've been going over this a lot, but yeah, we got Jemesa here. He's got a sick company. I don't want to screw that one up again.
Kukia Creations.
Kukia Creations. Yeah,
that was great. That was perfect.
But yeah, so we're super stoked to have you. How have you been, man?
Dude, I've been great. It's been crazy, just like everywhere else, you know. But
yeah,
it's been a solid couple weeks. I'm not gonna lie. I just got back from Oregon. We were just camping. So.
Sweet, right on.
Yeah, it's been good.
Really
good.
Yeah, crazy time to be a business owner, huh?
Yeah, but it's also the best time. I'd rather be working for myself than anyone else.
Right? Yeah, have a little control over what's going on at least. Yeah. Why don't you take a couple of minutes before we get into your business? Tell us a bit about your past, your life, kind of before getting into the business world.
So, to make a long story short, it's just big chilling all the time for the most part. My family moved a lot, so I grew up in like 9 different states, 10 different states. So I've lived in a lot of different places. We moved to Arizona from Kentucky.
Oh wow!
So it was a really big change. But
why were you moving all the time? Sorry,
just my dad's job. We had to move all the time. Yeah. So it was really good though. I mean, it's always interesting to me to meet people or to get perspective on people who have lived in the same place or like know their neighbors or have really good friends since they were like from elementary school. It's always been super weird to me just because we were just gone all the time. But it was really good. I saw a lot of different places, a lot of different people. But yeah, basically we moved here. I went to school at Val Vista Lakes for 6th grade, and when high school hit, I went to a school called Brophy College Prep, and that's really where a lot of like the ideas of like business and entrepreneurship really, really started. Just because a lot of those kids that I met, their dads were just super. They all own their own business. Everybody's dad owned their own business, or they worked for some high government official.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they were all into international business, or they owned a lot of the local businesses, but they were all businessmen and women. So that was the first time my eyes were open to like, you own your own business, you can just pretty much do, whatever you want.
Yeah. I was going to ask, so it wasn't necessarily like what they taught at the school, but the people you were around that.
Yeah, a lot of it was a big influence of the kids that I was around, a lot of my peers, but even at school too, they talked about it all the time.
Really?
Yeah, it was really different from the public schools I've gone to in the past.
Yeah.
And I'm just a really big advocate for private school. I mean, I just think it's above and beyond what the public school system is doing. That's just how it is. But yeah, a lot of those guys, almost every single person that I was really good friends with, their dad owned 1 or 5 businesses, and they were really good at what they did. And their sons were the best because they're like, I don't really need to go to school to make money, but they were going to school to learn information. It's kind of what Mark Cuban talks about. You know, we all have like, at least I do, but I know almost every business person has like idols they look up to. Yeah. Mark Cuban's one of those, but he was talking about, it's so dumb if you don't go to school. That was like his big thing because he felt like the information was more necessary than the degree itself. And almost all the kids thought the exact same way. They weren't going to college or they weren't going to school unless it was just for the information because they wanted to learn how they could take over a business and make it better.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
What were some of those ideas that you first started to have when you started to see your friends with all their dads owning businesses?
Well, one of them, who's a really good friend of mine to this day, I still talk to him every now and again, but his dad was like a rocket scientist in college. And then he was like, Yeah, that was good. He's like, that was really fun. And then I became like a private investor and angel investor. He's just a crazy, well thought out, very disciplined individual. But that was like the main thing, was just everyone was so disciplined there. But yeah, a lot of the ideas I had for business were just crazy. You know, I mean, like, you're 14, you're like, oh, I want to own like planes and like yachts, and I want to sell those. I mean, just like crazy ideas. But yeah, they were outlandish. And then kind of got to college and figured out some things that I really liked. Yeah, but
so you're in college right now, then?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, what are you studying?
So what I'm studying right now is I'm in film school right now. So I have about a year and a half of film school left. But before that, I was at school in Hawaii. I was at school there and just having fun surfing, ditching class. It was bad, but it was really good at the same time. I don't know how to explain it.
That's awesome. Why exactly film school?
Well, I've always loved movies, so that was one thing. Is I'm a really big fan of film, and cinema in general. And after going to school for a little bit and just trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I was in the business program, and after a semester that, my mom was like, "Yeah, you can do business anytime." And the amount of people that are around me, in Gilbert or just in different areas, they all own businesses, and I felt like I could learn the information for business from them. But I also, that was the thing, is I really love two things, and one of them is business and one of them is movies. So I knew I was going to do business or movies, and so technically I'm in film school, but the track I'm on for film school is the business side of making films, not the art side of making films, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Can you kind of like dive into that a bit, like what the business side is exactly in the film industry?
Yeah, for sure. I'm so obsessed with this stuff. Okay, so
talk as long as you want about it.
So basically, when you make a movie, the way I see it is it's like 50% the art and 50% the business. Okay. The percentages are not technically 50-50, but I mean, just for today's purposes, that's what it takes to make a movie, right? You need a movie that has a good script, solid characters. It needs to be interesting enough for people to go and watch it, to spend money on it. The other 50% is how you're going to market the movie, who's going to invest, who's going to put the money up, who's going to pay these actors, who's going to pay the crew. Right. And so that's the side that I really want to study, is how's the movie made, but also what's the business decisions that are made and how much you're going to pay people, working out contracts. So that's the end goal, is the business side of making movies. Just because to me it just seems more lucrative, first off, but also I felt like it was an avenue that not a lot of people were trying to do, because we've had, a lot of people don't know this obviously, but like we have the same studio executives for like the last 20-30 years in the movie industry. So these people that are like making good movies or greenlighting movies, I mean, they chose those careers really early on, and they've had them forever. And they're getting older. And there's just not a lot of people to replace them, because those avenues of people trying to become business owners for movies or to get into movies on the business side, just it's not really there. So I felt like the competition wise was a lot less, but also, I mean, it was the perfect blend, I felt like, of business and making movies. And so that was the reason why. But
yeah, so that's super interesting, because usually when you think of movies, you just think, oh, you got like a director, a producer, and then actors. Right. You don't really think of the business side of it. There's all this investment and marketing and stuff that goes behind it.
100%. And because just to make a movie is, if people understood the backbone of what actually makes a movie, like the skin and bones of everything, I mean, you would be surprised any movie ever gets made.
I bet, yeah.
Just because the amount of scheduling conflicts, the amount of people that have to put in. Right. They have what's called... So they have like accountants for movies, and then they have what's called movie brokers. And so a lot of the producers, what their job is to go to these movie brokers, what their job is to go to like these different producers, these different businessmen, and basically ask them for money. And they're like, hey, will you invest $5 million? So they take like $5 million from one guy, $10 million from someone else, $20 million from someone else, and all these people get percentages of these movies. And then those guys on the return make buku dollars afterwards, because if the movie's a success. But you think about these movies like Marvel, these studios are making so much money, not just off of ticket sales and prices, but all the merchandise. It's insane.
So that's kind of what you want to get into then, that side.
100%. Yeah,
that's really interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah, Ridge wants to be a stunt double one day.
So yeah, that's
Attaboy Ridge.
I've been building a ramp in my backyard.
Sweet, bro. Nitro Circus 2.0 Ridge. Let's go.
Evil Knievel over
Make
here.
Make it happen. So how long have you been going to school now?
So I've been going to school 3 years now.
3 years?
Yep. So I started in 2017.
Okay, that's when you went to Hawaii first?
Yep, that's when I went to Hawaii.
Okay.
January 2017. And then I left January of 2019.
Nice.
So, yeah, it was way too much fun. I'll be honest. It was bad, but really good. I needed it to me.
As someone that, it sounds like since high school you've wanted to be in the business and entrepreneurship world. Did you have any hesitation on whether you should go to college or not, or did you always have it in the plan?
Yeah, in a way, I had always planned to go to college. My parents were pretty strict about they weren't going to pay a dime for anybody's college. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, none of the kids so far, which has been really good. I have 5 other siblings, and my older sister, who's 11 months older than me, she went to college and went for free. My little brother is. My younger sister will. So going to college was like always a thought.
Yeah.
Just because going to Brophy, everyone would talk about college.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a day at Brophy, like towards graduation, where everyone wears their college sweater.
Yeah.
That day, and we have like a uniform you have to wear, so it's like a big deal for everyone to come to school and just wear a T-shirt, and everyone has their college printed on their chest their senior year. Sweet. Yeah. But that's cool. I've always wanted to go to college for sure.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's like a lot of motivation through high school to become successful in one way or another. Did you have any like solid mentors? Like I know you talked about a lot of your friends, their dads were successful, but did any of them like stick out as like a mentor? Or?
Yeah, 100%. I had a really good friend. His name was Billy, but his dad, Mr. Andrew, just was one of the best influences character-wise as a person, and also on the business side. I mean, he would go above and beyond to just sit down with me and just give me free information that's
really
just worthwhile. And
that's super cool.
Yeah, you can't put money on that kind of stuff, those kind of people. So
okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Give us one piece of advice or information that he gave you that's stuck to you till this day.
So my dad actually asked him this question, but he said, my dad was asking him about business, and he said, what would you say is the most important thing about business when you're making business decisions and when you're working with people? And his answer was, do I trust them and do I like them? The money stuff is secondary to those two things. And so I always thought that was super funny and super interesting because, I mean, when you think of business, the first thing I almost always think about is how can we work together to make money?
Yeah.
Right? How can we turn a profit all the time?
For sure.
And his whole thing was, do I trust them and do I like them? And that's just stuck with me. And moving into film school and / business is, I mean, that's been the two biggest things when you're making a movie too, is that's why directors hire certain actors. So Christopher Nolan is like one of those people that I really look up to movie wise, but that's why he casts, I mean, the same 4 people in every single movie. It's because he really trusts them to make a good movie, and he really likes working with them. So he's going to continue to hire these people over and over and over. Same with the cast and crew. I mean, if you have a lighting guy or a grip that you really love, you're going to hire those guys over and over, or girls, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't matter. Girls and guys.
Okay, so a lot of build up here, but at what point between this inspiration in high school and where you are today did you kind of get the idea to start up your own business?
So the way it goes is, oh man, when I was in college, I was rooming with a friend of mine, and whose name is Josh. So there are 3 owners of the company. So there's Josh, there's myself, and another individual. His name's Ethan. Yeah. So Josh and Ethan and I were all rooming together. And Josh, who is from Hawaii, he was just doing it as a hobby and like kind of as a side hustle. So every now and again he would design some shoes, or he would like make a hydro flask for somebody. And I just kept seeing it over and over and over because we were rooming together. We were in the same room. And so what ended up happening is I've always wanted to start like a small business, something fun in college. One was just because I think learning and making mistakes with like low risk because it didn't cost a ton to make stickers or to draw on shoes or anything like that.
Right.
So I just felt like low risk wise, we weren't gonna die if I invested some money or if we invested some time and it just didn't work out. So I really wanted to learn some of just business lessons on my own and just get the experience.
For sure.
Yeah. And I just kept seeing him drawing all the time and making sales. But I also noticed that like he wasn't really turning a profit as much. And I just thought, you know what, dude, I bet I could kind of take that from things I've learned in school and from other people, and we can just kind of make a few bucks here and there. And I mean, we weren't expecting to be millionaires or anything like that from it's still in its infancy as far as business wise, but that's essentially the story. Is we got together and I just said, hey, if we get together and kind of figure some stuff out here, I think I can help like monetize this a little bit better.
Nice.
So we had a meeting in Hawaii a couple of months ago, and after that meeting and a few other times we talked, we had the best like 2 months in a row than we had in the last year. And so it was really, really slow just because I lived here. And so that's really when it really started, is like I left and then I was going back so often when I was living in Provo. I told you guys this before the podcast, but when I was living in Provo and not going to school and not living at my place, and I was just traveling all the time.
All over the place.
Yeah. So on those visits back to Hawaii to go surfing, I was like, I think we need to start something here. And that's essentially how it started.
Okay.
Yeah, Josh is awesome. He's the artist. He's the one that draws everything, designs all the stickers and stuff. And that was the other thing, is I was like, I can't draw worth a lick. Yeah. But I mean, I can do the business side. And he's like, yeah, that's great. Sounds like a good partnership to me. And he's my favorite roommate that I've ever had.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
And then you said there's a third partner as well, right? So Ethan. What does he do?
So his job is mainly, so a lot of what he does is he is kind of on the business side as well. So a lot of the ideas and just different types of things, but he majored he's still going to school as well. I think his major was marketing or something like that. And so that's a lot of what he does, is he does a lot of the marketing.
Okay.
He makes a lot of the marketing decisions, / business decisions. Yeah. And also we try to do like self delivery. So basically if like we have a shoe that's on island that can be delivered, as opposed to mailing it and having it get there 2 or 3 days later, we just have him drop everything off like at the door. Yeah. And so that kind of makes it more personal for the people. Yeah. If that makes sense. So it's like, oh, here's your shoes. And it's cool to just like see the reaction on their faces, things like that. So
cool.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a bit more about like what the business is, like what people are getting when they do business with you guys?
So for Kukia, the biggest thing that you're getting is personalized and self-driven tribal designs. That's like the biggest thing a lot of people want. So in the Polynesian culture, a lot of people, it's become a lot more mainstream now, and so people that aren't Polynesian are getting a lot of these like tribal tattoos, which people can have their own. I think it's cool personally. I mean, it's always super interesting to me when I see someone who's not Polynesian and they have like tribal tattoos, sleeve, just like crazy stuff. Or like a lot of football players, that was like a really big thing. It's always popping out their pads.
And it looks really cool and really manly.
Oh yeah, yeah. Basically, it's really manly. Good. But yeah, that's essentially what it is. So in Polynesian culture, tattoos originally told stories, right? So certain designs talk about certain things. They talk about family. They talk about where you are heritage-wise. And that was a big thing between different Polynesian islands, is you can tell the ethnicity of someone just by their tattoo. Because the art is different, the way the designs are. And so that was a big thing with tattoos and why we wanted to do tribal things, is just because it's part of a culture. It's a way to stay connected. And also it's become more and more popular just even in the Western world, outside of Hawaii, outside of the Polynesian islands. And so that's really where the ideas came from. It's a way to stay connected.
That's cool.
What kind of ethnicity is your tribal art like?
Or does it cover multiple?
Like, does it cover a lot? Like,
so Josh, what's the cool thing about Josh is that if you give him a design and say, I want it more in a Maori style, or if I want it in a Fijian style or Samoan or Tongan, whatever it is he'll do the background for it. He'll get all the information he needs and then design it based off of that culture. A lot of Hawaiian people really like. So Jason Momoa, he's like a big Hawaiian. You know, he's an actor or whatever. Yeah. But he's got like these triangles all on his arm. That's like a really big Hawaiian thing. That's like very strictly Hawaiian tattoo.
Okay.
So if someone's like, oh, I really like the Hawaiian triangles, he'll make sure like it's designed around how that culture is or what that culture is specific for somebody. And so that's essentially what it is. We also sell just like random things here and there, like stickers that are tribal designed, but you know, just some fun things. But that's mainly the thing is customized wear, t-shirts, whatever it is. Yeah, that's a lot of shoes right now.
Yeah. A lot of shoes. Yeah. So do they provide the shoes to you, or do you guys provide the shoe as well, or how does that work?
So the way it works is you pay for the art and you pay for the shoe. Mm-hmm. So you pay a certain amount of money for however much the shoe costs, and we'll go get the shoe, we'll order it, we'll take it, and then we do the art. And so essentially you're paying for the shoe if you don't already have the shoe, and then you're paying for the art as well. What we're trying to do is as we continue to get more profit, as we continue to gain capital, is just buying the shoes and having them on rack and inventory. And then when people go to the website, which will be up July 10th, everybody.
Sweet.
Is that they can just go click on the shoe, customize it.
Oh,
and
really?
Then they can just have it sent. Yeah.
That's way
So
cool.
how do they customize? Like, what do they do to customize it?
So basically the way it will look is you'll be scrolling through, you'll be able to pick what shoe you want, and then they'll have options of like what colors, the type of design, so what culture, and then they can put any input they want in notes of like, oh, I want to have half of the shoe this way, I want to have this many colors. I saw this post, because part of the big thing is just communication on how people want it personalized.
Yeah.
Because that's the struggle, I think, in it, is that if somebody wants it a certain way and in their head it's not what they thought.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
They'll never come back.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you make sure that it's like exactly what they have in their head?
A lot of it is just the communication between Josh or between me and just trying to decide what they want. And the process it's lengthy but necessary, because we've had people who will buy one shoe and after one they'll buy another two. They'll buy another three. Yeah. So as far as business wise, because once somebody likes something, at least artist wise or personally wise for the tribal stuff, I mean, they'll go to the same person over and over. Yeah. And there's a lot of really great tribal artists and things like that. I just think that business wise, they don't always have a good game plan. And I felt like when we were looking at the market and the competition, that's where I felt like we could do a little bit better than other people.
Kind of capitalize on that a bit.
And that's probably why your partnership works out so good, because he's the artist and that's like where he shines, but then you have the business stuff, and then you have another part with the marketing, so you guys all come together and it really just blows it all out.
It does, yeah. And it's worked out really well between the three of us. It's been really good, actually. It's been better than it could be. I mean, it could be bad, but we've been pretty good about it.
FaceTime works pretty well too, right?
Yeah, FaceTime's awesome. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Shout out Mark Zuckerberg.
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. Shout out R.I.P. Steve Jobs, honestly. Gosh, that was terrible.
Are there any other, not just the distance, but even when you guys are together, are there any struggles you guys have with, working with not only one partner, but 3 different partners in the business?
Well, I think it goes back to I trust them and I really like them a lot.
Yeah.
And we're very straight up with each other. I'm a little more forward personality-wise than both of them are. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just because, I run the business side of the company. Yeah. So I feel like I kind of need to be. But we work really, really well as far as a cohesive unit. It's been really good. Both those guys are awesome. I trust them and I like them. And I think that was one of the big things is, I'm really close with both their families.
That's cool.
While I was going to school. So
are they both going to school over there still?
Is anyone really going to school right now?
Yeah, I guess.
But no, I think they're both going to school in fall.
Okay.
Yeah, I know one of them's in Alaska right now, actually. And Josh is in Hawaii, and I'm here right now. So we're all trying to figure out if school is going to start. I actually think they go to BYUH. So I think actually BYUH isn't having school this semester.
Yeah, that's
to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're going to do, or if they're just going to do online, but hopefully, I think school's kind of necessary, to be honest, but yeah.
Do you spend more time cleaning your pool than you spend swimming in it? Then call Flamingo Pools today. Flamingo Pools is your go-to swimming pool maintenance and repair company in the East Valley. Whether it's weekly maintenance, repairs, green to cleans, or one-time cleanings, Flamingo Pools will take care of you. Honest, reliable, and innovative. Just a few of the many good things Flamingo Pools customers have to say about them. Ask them about their mineral treatment, which will keep your chemical levels down, allowing you to have a healthier bathing experience. At Flamingo Pools, they know that your pool was made to be enjoyed, so let them handle the rest. Check them out at azflamingopools.com or give them a call at 480-422-6013. Mention this podcast and you'll get your first month of maintenance completely free. That's azflamingopools.com and 480-422-6013.
So is this more of like a side hustle right now? Like how many hours a week do you feel like you guys put into this?
So I'd say it's, at least for me on the business side, I think for Josh it's a lot more, just because he'll take a good 3-4 hours just to draw one thing,
right?
Yeah. And he's had to have a lot more new designs, because beforehand what was happening is we'd have one design for stickers, which turned into 4, and they were old designs. So what we did in like 45 days is we came up with 13 new ones.
Oh, wow.
And we decided from those 13 new designs, like 3 stickers we were going to put out, and then we're trying to put out a collection of stickers basically every single week since then. So he's had a lot more. So I think hour-wise for him, it's probably been closer to 30 hours a week.
Oh, wow.
So it's a lot, yeah. But it's definitely a side hustle between the three of us. I mean, we've all decided it wasn't going to be something that we were going to be crazy about, but if we could make some extra money and just profit, it's been good.
Yeah.
But I'd say for me, probably 15 hours a week. All of us have a lot of stuff going on, but yeah, I mean.
Yeah. I love hearing about side hustles, just like the differences of running it versus like being all in on a business. So before I ask, do any of you guys have jobs as well, or do you mostly just focus on this?
Yeah, so I have a job as well. I I still have to pay rent, so that's been good. But also I didn't work for like a year or something like that. Like I just wasn't working after I came back from Hawaii. I was just but beside traveling and stuff, I just didn't have a job. And so this past year, I got a job. So I've been working since December. Yeah, I've been working since like January, December. But yeah, everybody has a job. Sorry. To answer your question, yeah, all of us have a job.
Okay. And so is it hard to like have time to think about it or focus on the side business when you have a job and school on top of that? I
think it could be if we didn't all like doing it. So if it felt like more, if Kukia felt like a job, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But if it felt like something that we had to be like super crazy about, I mean, it brings me zero stress.
Right.
I shouldn't say zero. Yeah, maybe 5% of the time, but. For the most part, I mean, it brings me almost no stress to be like, okay, we didn't sell 100 stickers today. We sold 4. We didn't sell 20 shoes this month. We sold 4, But so that brings me like no stress at all, which has been really good.
That's cool.
Yeah, but I mean, we could all be doing better with it. It's just, the side hustle thing it really is like I don't know how to explain it, but like it's a way for me to back up from movies and from film school and from my job and focus on something that I'm just really, really like.
Yeah.
So it's more of a hobby than it is a job.
It's definitely more in the hobby section than job wise, but it's a fun hobby that we all do to make money. Yeah. So like it's
perfect combo. Right?
Yeah. It's like the perfect combo of just side hustle and fun.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
And we're just trying to grow it as best we can.
Yeah. So do you guys want to grow this into like a bigger thing, something that you're doing full time possibly, or do you want to keep it more of a side thing for all of you?
Well, I think the best thing, I mean, anybody would want anything to be successful as it could be, right? So if it had the potential to be great and replace, I mean, Ethan and Josh and my day job, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But, I mean, art is something that's really tough to do. And And I think just making a few extra bucks every single month or every single year. We basically all came together. This was the great thing about Josh and Ethan, about working with them and why I trust them and love them so much, is we basically all came together. I said I would do some things on the business end, and both of them said, okay, we'll put 100% of the profit we make from this side hustle and put it back into the business.
Oh, wow.
And so where beforehand, like, everyone was kind of paying themselves here and there, especially Josh, because he was doing all the art.
Yeah.
And basically he was just like, nah, dude, I'll put it all in 100% into the business. So for the last couple of months now, I mean, every dime we've made just goes right back into the business to grow it. So the side hustle, like, in a way, is kind of growing. Yeah. And we're focusing more on it. But I mean, I don't think it brings anybody any kind of stress.
Right.
Just because everyone's just having a good time with it. But it's definitely something that's super important because it's ours and nobody else can tell us what to do with it. And I think that's it just makes you feel good to know that something's yours, you own something.
Yeah. And obviously not everyone is in a position to be able to do that, but it's so important, if it's possible, to take as much of those profits as you can and put it back into the business, even though it might be tempting to reward yourself and take it all out. But it's huge for the business to be able to put it back in and grow it. I'm sure you guys have seen that. Yeah,
someone told me something really important. And actually this is something interesting going back to like culture.
Yeah.
Is in the Polynesian community, something that's really tough is to like, at least it has been for me, is to give things for free, just because like it's part of the culture. You know, you give freely, and people are always like, "Oh, can I get those stickers for free? Like, can you do this for free?" And in a way, it's tough because it's like this is a business, but to a lot of Polynesian people, to just a lot of people with a lot of culture, to them it doesn't make sense to like pay someone to do something for you.
And
like, no, this is a favor. And part of you really does. I mean, I wish I could give everyone free tribal shoes. I really do.
Right.
The difference is like, this is, for me, it's like it's a business, you know. And you can't take from the business stuff into the personal stuff. The example I was given was, if you have an Airbnb, right, and you buy 2 laundry detergents, and you buy 1 laundry detergent for the Airbnb and 1 for yourself at home. If you run out at home, you don't run to your Airbnb spot and grab the laundry. You have to go buy new laundry. And so those just need to be separate.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing for us too, is we have a separate account. The LLC and everything starts, and it's for the business and strictly for the business.
Yeah.
And so everything, all the profits go right back to that, and nobody is allowed to take from it. So
that's cool. Awesome. What are some of the most important things that you put those profits back into? Is it like marketing or more product, or what do you
A lot of it right now is in marketing, especially the last couple of months. Just trying to grow the Instagram, trying to grow the amount of people that see it.
Yeah.
Because that's really the big thing, at least art wise, that we've seen, is the more people that see it, obviously the more people will be interested. Yeah. And word of mouth is like a time in the past. I mean, not that it can't happen that way, but the way I see it, I mean, social media is like, that's how you grow, especially a side hustle, anything, a business. I mean, if your business doesn't have a solid Instagram, just good social media, different ideas on it, then it's just not going to happen.
Yeah. It's really like where people go to see if your business is legitimate or not.
100%.
Yeah,
no,
totally.
Seriously. 100%.
I feel like they look that up before they look up your website.
Yeah.
I'd agree. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So where have you found success in growing social media?
A lot of DMs. Slide into those DMs.
Okay. Even as a business owner.
Yeah, even as a business owner.
Like how?
So sometimes it'll be tagging people that have had past product that we've given them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We all tag each other in our personal accounts as well. But the biggest thing, we've paid money for promotions on Instagram and on other people's Instagram to post about us, right? So you pay somebody else that has a following of, let's say 30,000 people, right?
Yeah.
30,000 followers, and you pay them whatever it is, $50, $25 for them to have one post about you and then something on their story.
Yeah.
And we decided to spend, I want to say it was like $100 or something like that. Mm-hmm. $50 one day after a meeting. Mm-hmm. And I think our Instagram following grew from like 300 to 1,000 in like 2 days, 3 days.
Really?
Yeah. And then we got 5 or 6 orders from that.
Wow.
So the Instagram is actually really young as far as when it was made.
Mm-hmm.
And we just hadn't been posting regularly. We hadn't been having, I mean, like I said, it was like kind of, it was really more of a hobby and just something we were kind of all messing with. And then when we got kind of serious about it, maybe 4 months ago, I mean, it's grown exponentially. So
that's cool. And by promoting, that's basically just where you pay money to boost a post, right? For other people to see it and
yes,
show it
sir.
up as like a sponsored post
Yep.
in their feed.
Exactly. Yep. Or when you're scrolling, you see like an ad on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you can swipe up on it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So we've paid a couple of times for promotion, and it's grown. The Instagram and just gotten us a lot more followers, but way more than that, it's gotten us a lot more sales.
That's cool. How about the influencer marketing where you paid someone who had a lot of followers to post? Did you see any success from that?
Actually, we haven't. We've paid, I want to say like 2 people, and I think part of it is like just a timing thing. So like posting at the right time, I realize is super important. Having them post at a certain time, but we're continuing to do a lot of the promotions, just the paid ones. That's just what seems to work out for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And does your other business partner who's in charge of marketing, does he kind of focus on that?
Yeah, he does. Ethan is awesome because he has so many good ideas.
Yeah.
Of what we should be doing with the business. The problem is I can't always afford them. So that's where he comes in. I mean, he has expressed a lot of good ideas and is really, I mean, we really need him, to be honest, because between Josh and I just don't have the creative mind to know what to do with what Josh is doing, and Josh business wise, we just can't do it without Ethan, basically, is my point.
Yeah.
So he's really good. Yeah.
That's cool. Do you want to dive a bit deeper into like what you do on a regular basis? Because Josh obviously does the designs, Ethan does all the marketing. So what's like, a day-to-day basis or week-to-week basis of what your tasks are?
So basically at work, so my day job is a night job. I work a graveyard shift at like a rehabilitation center.
Really?
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So I sit there a lot.
Yeah.
And basically it's hilarious, but that was part of the reason why I got the job, was because I was up during the graveyard hours anyway. Yeah. And so what it is really late at night. So from 12 to 9 a.m., 12 a.m. to 9 a.m. What I'll do is I call it the Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if that's what it is, but basically he was explaining that if you have a side hustle, a small business, and you're trying to grow it and get it in front of as many eyes as possible. I mean, you sit there on Instagram for 4 hours and you comment on everyone, right? So if your business is like, protein shakes, right? You type in protein shakes, hashtag protein shakes, and you sit there and you hit the 300,000 posts that are protein shakes, and like it's people that are working out or whatever, and you type swole, fire, looking big, bro. And so that's what I do is I'll look up any of the tribal designs, a lot of these areas, and try to get it in front of as many eyes as possible, the business. And so I'll be commenting like personalized comments for hours.
Really?
Yeah. And what also I do is I run the money side of it. So I keep track of the amount of inventory we have every day, what sales we made that day, what the profit is that day, and it's all on spreadsheets. Also, I run the meetings that we have between the three of us. Uh-huh. So we'll have like action items that we have. We'll have items that we need to follow up on, different things. And then I run the budget as well. That's probably the biggest thing that I do is running the budget. And running all the numbers. Yeah. And I'm not an accountant. I didn't study finance.
I was going to say, where did you learn about numbers to be able to run that?
YouTube. Yeah. YouTube is great. I think it's fantastic. But aside from movies, I mean, I really, really love business. And so if I'm not watching something on YouTube about cinema or about film school or about movies, it's about business. And so that's really where I learned about how to run numbers and how to do spreadsheets, how to keep things organized. And I'm still learning. So first, like a disclaimer, I failed math my junior year and
of high school.
Okay. And to this day, I am not a mathematician. I'm not great at it, but I mean, I can do plus or minus. I can multiply, but that's why we have calculators and things like that.
Siri.
Yep, 100%. 100%.
So a lot of people say YouTube, but have you found anyone in particular on YouTube that you like?
I do. Yeah, I do actually. So there's a guy, his name's Graham Stephan.
Okay.
I think is his name. And he's just this dude who like did real estate. He was a millionaire when he was like 26 from real estate. And he lives in California, but he had a YouTube channel about talking about money and credit cards and how to run a business and finances and just getting like personal finances done, and also what he did personally.
Yeah.
And I've been following him, I think, for the greater part of a year or something. And so, yeah, he's something I really like. He has like 2 million plus subscribers now, but when I started watching him, I think he had like maybe 150 subscribers at the time.
Oh, wow.
So he's awesome. I mean, he's grown really, really big as far as money wise, or has helped me as far as money wise.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
Getting my finances in check and things like that.
That's cool. And then you also mentioned the Instagram side of things where you're always commenting. Have you seen anything come from that, whether it's sales or just people checking out your page in general or following you? What's been the benefit of doing that?
One of the big benefits, like you said, was just having them, look at the page.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've had a lot more sales than that. Like I said, after our meeting and just trying to get some more things organized. We had our biggest month right there. And
wow.
Yeah, the real benefit is just making sales, like I said. And
it's just like a funnel. They check you out and then eventually they see you again, and then the sale happens.
Yep, exactly. And even then too, one of the things that I think has been good is just people, as soon as they get a product, especially the way Josh does it, because he does it so well, they'll always tell someone about it later.
Right.
We try to make sure that they post, at least on their Instagram, after receiving their products and getting it back. And so that's been something that's been really cool too, is just someone will get it. So for example, a shoe, and then they post it on their Instagram and one of their friends is like, cool shoe, can I get one? And of course we say, yes, you can. And that's it. Yeah.
That's sweet.
Nice.
That's been a good benefit.
You mentioned Mark Cuban earlier as someone,
the
like a
man, guys. Let me tell you, that is the man.
Tell us more. Tell us more.
One of the goats of business.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons I love Mark Cuban is because he's almost in a way, I think he's like such an opposite of what a lot of other business owners say. So I mentioned Gary Vee, right? He's he's gotten a lot bigger in the year. So this is the funniest. So something that at least in my mind is funny is I've heard about a lot of these people like Mark Cuban and Gary and a lot of these guys like in high school. And then when I came back from the mission, basically there was like everyone was talking about him.
Right.
They've been like become like a lot bigger business,
a lot more
individuals.
mainstream recently.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's funny just because they're such studs. But what I really love about Mark Cuban is he basically talks about going to school and getting information and learning as much information from people that know more than you and then taking it back. And one of the interviews I just watched with him this was maybe 2-3 days ago, but he went to Indiana University, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And he studied finances just because he didn't feel like anybody else anywhere could really, it was like their job for them to sit down and teach you.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, when I kind of mentioned this earlier is like, if you can go to school for free, why wouldn't you go to school? To get the information. So that's something that I really love about him is like, you need information from someone smarter than you so you can take that information. And that's just like one of the outlooks I just hadn't seen in a lot of other business owners who are like, school is stupid. Mm-hmm. It's like a waste of time. But it's not, I think, if you use it in the right way.
Right.
So, yeah, guys, the GOAT, okay? He's the man. Mark Cuban.
Does he produce a lot of like his own content? Because like someone like Gary Vee's always like posting stuff. Does Mark Cuban have like a platform where he's always giving out tips and advice or?
Yeah, he does. He's really good about it. He does a lot of. Literally just on YouTube, if you search Mark Cuban interviews, mm-hmm. Aside from Shark Tank,
right?
There's so much information that he is giving.
Yeah, through different interviews.
Yeah, just through different interviews, and that goes for a lot of people. Mark Schultz, he's another one. The CEO and founder of Starbucks.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they have so much information. They literally would give this information out for free,
mm-hmm.
just interviews.
Yeah.
And so I think, like, why wouldn't you use that, those advices? Why wouldn't you use those things? And they talk about things that they run their business and the things that they do. So
there's so much information out there that they give out that we're just
so good too. Yeah, it's top stuff. And you can take what you want from certain people. So like Gary Vee, he cracks me up because he's like, school is stupid. Like don't go to college. Like your parents tell you to go to college. Like screw them. Yeah, And Mark Cuban's totally different. So I think you just got to take what you think is best.
I think that's so important because there's so many of these like loud entrepreneurs, and a lot of them have like different takes on it. So it's important to like listen to a lot and then see what's best for you, see what you agree with the most, instead of just like taking one and doing everything they say.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, because at the end of the day, like we live in a country where we can choose what to do, and so
you're the man, dude. Yes, 100%.
So it's really like, and everyone's always gonna have a different opinion. Like
always. Yeah. And you're not gonna please everybody. So I mean, don't even try.
Please
it's really not worth it. Yeah. Please yourself.
That's right.
Any books or podcasts that you listen to as well or read that have helped you out?
Let me pull this up. Actually, there's someone just gave me this book. I had never read it before, and I'm almost finished with listening to it. It's called The Go-Giver.
Oh,
have you guys heard of this book?
The Go-Giver, yeah.
The Go-Giver.
I actually just got that book the other day from somebody, and I've been meaning to open it up, but yeah.
When are you going to open it up?
Oh, well, I've opened up another book, so that one's coming second. Rich Dad Poor Dad is first.
Rich Dad, Robert Kiyosaki is a stud. Yeah. One of the OGs. Yeah, such a stud. I think, so, I mean, obviously, business-wise, I try to read as many books as possible. Yeah. For me, I also have to read a lot of, like, filmmaking books, if that makes sense, just because it's not just what I'm studying, but it's also what I love. So, The Ride of a Lifetime by Robert Iger. That's the CEO of Disney. Yeah. Been the CEO for 15 years. He gives a lot of good advice. It's super easy read. I have it on Audible. I listen to it in like 4 or 5 hours. It's not a hard read. Yeah, it's super easy, but he gives a lot of good advice. That's one book. But The Go-Giver, that's another one. Richest Man in Babylon is a super good. And my favorite book of all time is called The Alchemist.
I've heard a lot of people recommend it recently. Yeah, I haven't read it though.
It's not just a good book like in the business setting because it's more of a story-based book. Yeah. It's just a good book for like the soul, bro. Just like a moral compass of books and a way that you make good decisions with your business and with people, because essentially that's what business is, right? You're working with people that you trust, hopefully that you like, and that's why I think those books are really important. Yeah. But yeah, Robert Iger, Ride of a Lifetime, The Alchemist, The Go-Giver. Those are probably some, and Richest Man in Babylon. Those are like the solid ones I'd say so far.
Nice. Yeah. So it sounds like you've consumed a lot of content and eaten a lot of this up.
Probably too much, honestly.
What's your best advice for a young entrepreneur, old entrepreneur, anyone that's wanting to start a business?
So I'm just going to steal from other people because my own words won't do it justice. But Scooter Braun, who is the guy I look up to the most as far as business. I don't know if you guys know who Scooter Braun is. Yeah. Little detail on him. He is the manager for Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, Demi Lovato, but he is the one who I would say is the reason Justin Bieber, all these people,
him pretty much. Right?
Yeah, he's the man. What I love about him is that the first thing you have to think about is who you want to be as a person, right? So like your moral, and then all that hustle, all those other things that you do later on, I think comes second. And so to answer your question straightforward, I think the advice, I don't have a ton, I'm not super knowledgeable or anything, but what I'd steal from Scooter Braun is that you have to find people who are like-minded like you, and you guys all have to come up together, as opposed to being like a 20-something-year-old and going to some 50, 40-year-old, 60-year-old entrepreneur, business individual and being like, hey, can you mentor me? Mentors are great. 100% get a mentor, someone you really look up to and have a personal relationship with. But can I just share this story real quick, actually? Yeah. Okay, so Scooter Braun talks about how he was on a list, the 30 for under 30 list. It's a list that Forbes comes out with every year, and it's like 30 entrepreneurs, business-minded people in every industry, and they're all under 30 years old. So he gets this list, gets put on it, he's like 29, and he looks at the whole list. And what he realized is all of his mentors that he talked to, is basically he would talk to them and be like, hey, can I get this favor done? Can I get that favor done? Because that's what ends up becoming in the business world is just favors for different people.
I scratch
and
your
then,
back, you scratch mine.
Exactly, 100%. And that's how, I mean, personally, that's how I think everyone stays rich together too, is you make these favors for one another in across different industries. And what he talks about is, he's like, yeah, these guys that I knew, my mentors that were like 40, 50 years old, they'd always talk about, oh, let me just call that guy. I've known him for 15 years.
Right.
Let me just make this phone call. I've known that guy for 20 years.
Yeah.
So he took this 30 for under 30 list, looked at all the names, and cold called and emailed every single person on the list.
Really?
And he was like, hey, they put us on this list together. I think we should know each other. Like, get back to me when you can, blah, blah, blah. And I think from the 30 of those people, he got like 10 calls back. And from those 10 calls, he ends up being one of the earliest investors for Spotify and for Uber and for Lyft.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, so I think that's like one thing is young entrepreneurs, as opposed to thinking like everyone's your competition,
right,
is to actually think of it in a way that like when you work together, you all grow together, right?
Yeah.
So further together, faster alone. I really think that that's probably an advice I'd give to young entrepreneurs and even old entrepreneurs too, is just that you come up together, and I think you're better for it. I think everyone increases, but yeah, just coming up together is probably the thing I'd say for the young ones, you know.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Are we going to see you on that list sometime soon?
I mean, with you guys, 100%, bro. 100%. I'm about that list.
There we go.
I'm not. I'd be lying to you if I didn't say it was definitely a goal.
That's an
lying.
awesome goal, though.
Yeah,
I think
I'd be lying.
Yeah.
But,
so what's kind of the plan going forward with the business?
So with Kukia Creations, the biggest thing right now that we're getting out is the website will be up July 10th, and we'll have 4 new sticker designs by then. So, maybe 5. Yeah, maybe it's 5. But basically, we're trying to figure out some different designs for T-shirts, different hats, just a lot of the simple things like that, jackets. But moving forward, we're trying to get a lot more inventory. We're still sticking with the things that we do really well, which is the shoes. But yeah, I mean, basically a lot of it is just new designs, things that we haven't used before. On the Instagram, we just had like a voting for the new sticker, and I think like 1,200 people voted.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. So that was like a really big deal for us because
that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, for 1,200 people to take 5 seconds and click yes or no on a sticker,
it means a lot. Yeah.
It means a lot to someone like me, you know, who doesn't think more than 10 people look at the page a day.
Right.
Yeah. So thanks everybody. Shout out every last individual that voted for the stickers.
Well, this episode will either come out right before the 10th or right after the 10th.
Yeah.
Okay,
Depending on when we decide to release, it might be up or not.
Perfect.
But make sure you check it out
Okay.
either way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, guys.
We're excited to see it. We've had a lot of fun, learned a lot from this. Before we close up, we have a quick game we're going to play with you, though.
Let's go. I love games.
We do too.
So how it's going to go is we've got a list of questions, and you have 60 seconds to see how many of them you can answer. So it's just going to be rapid fire. We'll just go back and forth between me and Ridge, and yeah, we'll see how many you can get.
Okay.
And these are just like questions about you.
Oh, gosh.
So I will pull up.
While they're doing that, shout out Ridge and Dallin. They are the best, guys. If you're not listening to this podcast, you need to. Go back, listen to every episode, get it done. That's it. That's what I have to say.
That.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
In the back, for those that can't hear me, Ridge and Dallin, the men.
Oh, appreciate it, man.
Getting it done on their podcast.
Appreciate that.
How many 20-something-year-olds do you know that have a podcast that are doing this, okay?
Well, that's
It's
one of the
not
questions.
happening. It's not happening.
Segment. All right, Reg, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, we will start in 3, 2, 1.
Favorite junk food?
Twix.
If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Teleportation.
Music you turn on when nobody is around.
Bob Marley.
Stuck on an island, what would you bring?
My scriptures. No, I wouldn't.
Favorite quote?
Emma Weaver Wilcox's poem about resilience.
If you could have dinner with anyone in time, who would it be?
Leonardo da Vinci.
What's your spirit animal?
A sea turtle.
Who's your celebrity crush?
Gemma Arterton from Prince of Persia, but the Prince of Persia girl, Princess Tamina, not her as an actual actress, just her in that character.
Okay. Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Michael Jordan, are you kidding me? He's the GOAT.
TV show you could binge watch?
Prison Break.
If you could
Or Avatar: The Last Airbender.
If you could swim in any liquid, what would it be?
Nitrogen. Is that a liquid?
If you
Mercury.
could turn an inanimate object into life, what would it be?
The Apple computer.
Apple computer, dude.
Wow.
Hold on. How many did you get?
I don't, dude.
We skipped a few, so I have to like put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think 12.
Wow.
I think the record is like 13, so you're right there. But
Yeah.
it's
Oh, dang it.
You're
You should have told me that beforehand.
I know.
So I had a goal in
we're
mind.
working on that. We're working
Gosh,
on that.
dang it. I take
good,
back
though.
everything I said about the podcast.
No. We're cutting.
We'll get you back on when you're on the 30 for 30 list, and you can do it again. And
Sounds good.
redeem
Promise?
yourself.
Promise.
Oh,
Okay.
promise.
I'm going to write that down. I'm not even kidding you.
We have it on air, so
I'm going to put that down in the notes
There you go.
right now.
set a reminder.
100%.
Sick, dude. Well, before we close up here, why don't you just take another second, plug yourself real quick, tell people where they can find you, if they're interested, how they can place an order.
Guys, you can do it multiple ways. The biggest way to do it is on Instagram. If you just hit me with the DM, either at jsnuka23 or at Kukia Creations. That's pretty much it. If you guys look at the page, I'm just pulling it up right now. You can just check out any of the shoes, any of the things. Can I go to camera? Is this camera one over here? Can I just scroll that? Okay. That's it. We're out here.
There we go.
Whatever you guys need, personalized. But yeah, I'm gonna get those stickers to you guys though on a different level. But yeah,
Sweet, dude.
Sweet.
I'll hit you guys with those stickers
Appreciate
for
it.
sure.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Dude, well, thanks again. It's been
thank
real.
you.
Learned a lot from you. And
Ton of fun.
You guys are awesome, man. This
Yeah.
is awesome. This is so sick. Keep doing what you're
Likewise.
doing.
Likewise.
Grind.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on. Okay, and we'll catch you all next week.
Yep.
Aloha.